bad. Now, your father...
Wait, one second. Who are you to talk about my life?
Who
are you to talk about my life?
Who am I?
Who are you to talk about my personal life in front of all these cameras? Who are you? I find that extremely disrespectful.
No, it's not.
It's very disrespectful. It's none of your business. You want to talk about my dad? Talk about him. Don't talk about me and come with all that. Tell about my life.
I would like...
Don't talk about my life in front of these cameras. That's my personal life.
I don't know about your life.
You want to talk about my boxing?
I don't know about your life.
Don't talk about my...
Boxing is about rules. And it's about being noble. No bad language. Conor Benn. You swear like a possessed or drunk. You're supposed to be in Christ. I believed in you. You know, I do not believe that you did any...
I really want to ask you about Chris Eubank Sr. He said that he won't be in his son's corner for the fight. Does that give you any kind of mental advantage going into the fight on Saturday?
Oh, no. You know, I've been asked about this a few times, and I don't feel like it's, you know, my place or anyone's place to talk about Senior and the current situations that have been going on, because it's deeper than this. You know, it's a family feud. It's, you know, one of the biggest British rivalries of all time.
Eubank Sr. shocked his son and boxing fans by making a surprise appearance at the media workout ahead of the highly anticipated clash between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. However, what was even more surprising than his arrival was the intense backstage altercation that followed. The confrontation erupted after Eubank Sr. insulted Nigel Benn, prompting Conor Benn to lash out in defense of his father. In a moment that nearly saw him exacting revenge on Chris Eubank Jr., Conor instead directed his fury toward Eubank Sr. Chris Eubank Jr. was not present backstage at the time, as he had not anticipated his father's unexpected visit during fight.
Chris Senior's not going to be there.
No.
Be there.
No. I'm making trouble with you. Yeah, come trouble with you.
See what he said? He's surprised. Called him a disgrace.
I'm saying about my son. Chris Eubank Jr. That one, see back to the cut. Yeah. Oh no, we got what? We got. I'm going to tell you that.
Eubank Sr. showed up at the scene, trolling his old rival Nigel Benn and blaming him for being part of the chaos that promoters were forcing his son into. He called Nigel Benn evil, lumping him in with the boxing promoters, and expressed his disapproval of the situation, saying, "I'm here for my son's well-being. Winning is good if he's healthy, but his well-being comes first. I'm not like the greedy people infiltrating the boxing world. It's health before wealth for me, and I speak from experience." In response, Conor Benn lashed out at Eubank Sr., accusing him of being a bad father and attempting to confront him physically, though security intervened and prevented him from attacking the elderly former champion.
Him there, would have loved to see him in that relationship. Of course I would. You know, because ultimately, boxing aside, this can all go tomorrow. This can all be done. My dad's still my dad. You know, and the relationship I have with my dad is one I wish for them.
I've got to ask you then, Conor, as well, because I think this was first announced, this fight in 2022. It didn't happen. Are you even more determined? And I think I heard a little bit of audio from you in one of the interviews. You said that you felt your dad won that second fight. I know it was a draw, but you said he won it. Does it make you even...
Sr.'s unexpected appearance shocked many, especially those who had seen his previous interviews criticizing the fight and expressing deep concern about a potential disaster for his son. The moment quickly went viral on social media, sparking a wave of reactions in the comments. One fan wrote, "Ben is going too far with Eubank's dad. He should focus on Junior and get ready for his first defeat." Another commented, "The sight of Chris Eubank Sr. here is saddening. I don't think he needs to go through this. He's already had so much to mourn. I'm sure his son will be fine."
Go out and win this one.
Yeah, of course. You know, me and my dad have a running joke where it's like, he's left me his dirty laundry and I got to fix it for him. You know, so we have this joke, it'll be one up because of me, Dad. You know, you never hold that down. But me and my dad have that banter. And yeah, of course, though, on a serious level, it really is one for the family. I mean, aside from, you know, the media and the magnitude of the fight, and everybody
quipped, "Chris Eubank won't be happy seeing his dad get into this. This whole thing just keeps getting messier." In fact, Nigel Benn came to the defense of Chris Eubank Jr. after Eubank Sr. called his own son a disgrace, referring to the incident in February, where Eubank Jr. slapped Conor Benn with an egg an act that sent Conor
I just
into
want
a
to
rage.
talk to you about Senior. Obviously, I spoke to Harlem. Conor feels like the same as everyone else. You wish for them as a family that Chris Jr. and Senior can get on.
What you do? I don't know. I don't want to. I wish that
I
the
want to talk to you about Senior. Obviously, I spoke to Harlem, and Conor feels the same as everyone else. They just wish that, as a family, Chris Eubank Jr. and Sr. could get along. What you do, I don't know. And I don't want to interfere. It's simply a hope that father and son can reconcile. Chris Eubank Sr. has yet to make an official appearance in the build-up to his son's grudge match with Ben, largely due to their strained relationship. This tension escalated after Eubank Sr. publicly condemned Eubank Jr. for slapping Conor Benn with an egg, an act that referenced Ben's 2 failed performance-enhancing drug tests in 2022, which ultimately canceled their first scheduled fight. Ben had blamed the failed tests on overconsumption of eggs, prompting Eubank Sr. to say, "That is disgraceful. I'm not going to be in your corner. I would never have been in your corner. That is a
build up their
disgrace."
relationship again, get back together, be close. You know, you got one dad, you know, and I don't like to see him like that. It's a family affair, this. He should have been here, and I hope he is there. I hope we like, you
Smashing
know.
an egg in someone's face and trying to justify it. There's no justification for that. There's nothing noble about it, said Nigel Benn, reflecting on the growing tension. Ben and Chris Eubank Sr. famously fought twice in the 1990s, and their historic rivalry has served as the foundation for the current feud between their sons. Speaking to Sky Sports at the public workouts, Ben expressed his disappointment, saying, "I'm so sad Chris isn't here. It's a family affair, and I don't like to see a father and son fall out publicly. They should sort out their issues behind closed doors and make up. I wish Chris hadn't said that about his son publicly. Regardless of the egg incident, he's not a disgrace. He's done really well for himself. He shouldn't be saying that in public about his son, and I'm genuinely sad about it. I hope Chris can reconcile with his son."
Nigel Benn. Before you start doing all that, I'm going straight for it. I'm going to tell you now, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But what happens in Mallorca, I'm telling you everything.
Hit me.
Right? First started the sparring with Rampton, ABA champion, blah blah. Just done it, you know, just playing with him and all that, but having a good spar with him. Then he got
Naturally, a 147-pound fighter, Conor Benn is moving up to 160 pounds to face Chris Eubank Jr. at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday. The unbeaten East Londoner is determined to prove his doubters wrong and show that he can overcome a naturally bigger opponent in the capital. "I'm loving the challenge of fighting at 160. I'm loving the competition," Ben said. "I've prepared for this and done everything I possibly can in training, and that's filled me with confidence. You all think I can't win. Watch. Me. That's your mentality, not mine. I'll do it, and I'll show you. I don't like Eubank Jr. It's a family feud, and it's about the family name. It's always personal.
Bentley
Always has
started sparring with him and all that. You know, had his hand full. Then we fought the guy that knocked out Monguia, Bruno, from France. These are like light heavy. No problem. Right? Then, the biggest one of them all, this guy walked
When
into the
Conor
gym.
Benn steps into the ring, his father Nigel Benn will be in his corner, steadfast and supportive. But for Chris Eubank Jr., the story takes a more somber turn. It's no secret that his relationship with Eubank Sr. has been strained over the years, and while many hoped the legendary father would set aside their differences to support his son in what may be the most important fight of his career, reports suggest he won't be there. Not in the corner, not ringside, not even cheering. The situation seems to have reached a point where Eubank Jr. and his team have decided to shift their focus entirely to the task at hand, asking themselves why they should try to persuade someone who, by all indications, has no interest in showing up to support.
And God is my witness. Everything I'm telling you is the truth. Walked in the gym, he had 12 rounds, I didn't know who he was. It was this guy called William Skull. Right, and Conor Benn
Fighting Canelo.
Right, hold on a minute, and I'm telling you, God is my witness. Everything I'm telling you the truth. And he was sparring, then like round 4 or 5. He said, "Oh no, I need a minute." Conor only does 40 seconds, right? Then afterwards,
Jonathan Banks didn't mince words, and for Chris Eubank Jr., it's strictly business. In an interview with Radio Raheem, Banks addressed the sensitive topic of the Eubank family dynamics, which have become increasingly emotionally charged, especially after Chris Eubank Sr. publicly labeled his son's upcoming bout a complete disgrace. Raheem asked how Banks had been able to manage the emotional turbulence surrounding his fighter, questioning, "How are you managing Eubank's emotion and focus when his family life is so public and so disjointed?" Banks responded with the calm, focused pragmatism expected of a seasoned trainer, saying, "When you've got a task at hand like this type of fight, that's what you put first."
How could you do that to them? How could you do that? I know you have, what, 2 children? How could you do that to them? Because they're going to listen to you and they say, well, Dad does it, then I can do it. Junior, you're smashing an egg against this guy's face. I taught you that. I didn't teach you that. Who taught you that?
With fight day just days away, staring down his opponent, Jonathan Banks emphasized that now is not the time to get swept up in emotion. "You deal with them when you get home, but as far as right now, we've got business to do," he stated. "After the business, then you deal with the person, but right now it's just business. We've got business to take care of." Raheem continued to probe, asking if the situation was weighing on Eubank Jr. emotionally. Banks responded, acknowledging, "You can never know what a person is thinking when it comes to their own father," admitting the complexity of the emotional situation.
But because you was going on about it, and at the end of the day, I just want to let you know, I'm sorry, but retribution is coming your way, mate. I'm telling you, it is coming your way, mate. You know, he's going to hit you so many times with a left, you're going to be crying for a right. He's going to hit you so many times, you're going to think you're surrounded. I'm telling you, mate. He's going to put.
At the same time, "My job is to keep them focused on the task at hand," Jonathan Banks explained. "Like any other distraction, anything else will be a distraction. I just need him to focus on the task at hand." The exchange served as a slap in the face to former opponent and now close friend Michael Watson, who commented on the significant weight difference between Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. "So where are these people today? Stand up for him," Watson said, criticizing those who supported the spectacle. Michael Watson isn't going along with the nonsense and the circus that's been created for this farce of a fight, where one fighter is 2 or 3 weight classes above the smaller guy. The smaller guy needs to teach a lesson.
Who told you that? That's disgraceful. I'm gonna stand in your corner. You must be mad. You must be mad. I would never be in your corner. You're a disgrace. You're smashing an egg in someone's face, and then you're trying to justify it. There's no justification for that.
Sr. sounded both disappointed and heartbroken, especially when referencing the infamous Egggate incident between Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. Money seems to have become the only motivation, and such behavior does not reflect the conduct I have instilled in him, he lamented. The Eubank legacy is built on discipline, respect, and professionalism. On Saturday, April 26th, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn will face off in one of the most highly anticipated bouts.